Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yin and Young.
I'm Chibi Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
I'm Jiren Cosplay. And I'm Cozy.
We're back with, it's finally at the Elite 8. Woo. We have narrowed down so much. We've gotten the leaders of every single bracket in this Mahou Shoujo Showdown. Let's just go through them real quick. We got, from the Dynamic Duos bracket, we got Revolutionary Girl Utena. From the Locked and Loaded bracket, we got Granbelm. Theater Kid Energy bracket, we got Princess Tutu. The Sup Bra category, we got Shugo Chara. The Collect 'em All 2 Electric Boogaloo bracket, we got Card Captor Sakura. The I Just Can't Wait to Be Queen bracket is Sugar Sugar Rune. The Papa Prozac bracket is Madoka Magica. And the Basically Power Rangers bracket is Magic Knight Rayearth. Oh, this has been so much work so far. We have so much work to go. This is like, I think this is the halfway point. Are we feeling fatigued? What are we feeling right now?
Surprisingly refreshed this week.
Ah, I see. Good to hear.
I mean, I've been watching a couple of other shows here and there between whatever we've been watching, so I've been, sort of taking doses of other things.
That's
while we've
good.
been doing this.
It's good to microdose. Trademark, ALPACAL. So, I will say that it did get a little bit easier, and things will maybe be a little bit easier than they have been beforehand. We went from watching 8 shows, 1 episode apiece, to 4 shows, 2 episodes apiece. Now we're down to 2 shows every week, 3 episodes apiece, and we're going to see who comes out on top. So we had less to watch this week, and we could focus a little bit more on each of the shows, so we're going to kind of be digging in a little bit, hopefully. Trying to keep things, in a decent amount of time as far as like talking about everything, but I think we're finally starting to, especially seeing that the shows are getting to like their episodes 4 through 6, we're starting to see a lot of them really start to hit their strides maybe, or show that they're going to falter. So It's going to be interesting moving forward. Up first for this week, we have the Dynamic Duos champion Revolutionary Girl Utena versus the Locked and Loaded champion Granbelm. So let's talk about Revolutionary Girl Utena first. What happened in these episodes? What did happen in these episodes?
We met Mickey, as they lovingly referred to him.
That's his name.
Yes.
I keep calling him Vanilla Guy. You know what? I'm not gonna put out my opinions yet. But yeah, so he shows up. I actually had thought when we first started watching these, did I skip an episode? Did I miss something? Because it like starts right as they're fighting, and then I was like, wait a minute, hold up, what's going on? And then I was like, I'm
glad it was a universal experience.
I fucked up so many times. Like it is one of the tough things because like you're watching these week to week and like you're going to other things constantly. You're like, wait, did I miss something? Fuck. But fortunately, we didn't. Yeah. So Minky. No, they got eliminated. Mickey.
He's like a twink, so...
He's a twink who likes Anthony because everyone likes Anthony. Unless you're a girl in the show, everyone fucking hates Anthony, is one of the few
All
things.
the girls, yeah.
Yeah. Men want her, women want to be her.
Utena wants her, deep down.
Maybe. I don't think she's figured it out yet. Deep down. But yeah, so... Mickey wants Anthe because piano, and piano is life. And Sister doesn't want to do piano anymore, because it turns out Sister didn't think piano was life. But
no,
he's gonna be, I guess, part of the main cast now. And then we had, so that's kind of, we had 2 episodes focusing on him, and the build up to the duel between him and Utena. And then we had one episode.
Had a filler episode.
Yeah, I was going to say,
yes.
it had to have been a filler episode.
Yeah, it was.
Because it focuses solely on the president's sister and an elementary school kid who's into her because he wants to be There was a kangaroo that fought people.
There was a kangaroo.
How many, there was a horse that got loose. Okay, we can't say much about that. That was years ago. Then there was a bull that got loose, and then there was a kangaroo that got loose. How many animals are just, loose on this campus?
So many.
A lot.
They're probably all Anthe's pets.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that is another thing.
Oh, my.
Anthe got
I have seen Utena a few times. In the entirety of the episode, I'm like, I don't remember this. I really don't remember this. I, blocked this out.
Damn.
Oh.
Well, hold your opinions till we get there, but yes.
But to go back to episode 4 with all of Anthe's pets, episode 4, where we get introduced to Miki, also has, a whole Nanami section with her
Yeah.
trying to, basically embarrass Anthe, but epically failing repeatedly.
Yeah.
It was kind of silly.
It seems to be part of her MO because wasn't she the one who had the dissolving dress in the last episode
Yep.
Yeah.
for Anthe?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She always does that.
Did we miss anything? Are we ready to get rolling
Not
on
really.
this? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start. Let's talk about plot. Yin, you're starting us off about this. What did you think about the plot?
Yes. So, plot. Let me pull up my notes.
The plot was plotting, let me
The
tell
plot
you.
was plotting.
It was
Sometimes.
plot.
Occasionally plotting. Alright, so we'll get my thoughts about the third episode we watched out of the way. So, yes, this was very much a filler, and I do find the sister annoying, which I'm going to be talking about more in the character section, but this all kind of centered on her, so she was, like, the center of this plot in a lot of ways. There were some fun moments, like those 3 weird guys. I got a chuckle out of that. And that other random guy that showed up for 2 seconds.
I don't remember the other one. The triplets I do
The
remember.
triplets are hard to forget.
Who I'm convinced were not actually related.
Yeah,
No.
I thought the kangaroo was silly. Everything was a little bit silly in this episode.
Yin, it's funny that you say the triplets are hard to forget because she forgot them.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but she's a jerk.
She'll forget everyone except her big bro. Yeah, her big bro complex is still kind of like annoying, but whatever. It's just part of who she is at this point. So yeah, I rolled my eyes a little bit at some parts of this. The plot was like kind of silly, but like I had some fun with it. It was very much a filler, so I was very like about that one. On the other hand, I liked the 2 other episodes. I liked the introduction of the blue hair guy. He's a little, like, bland, but I like that he's kind of Utena's friend while at the same time wanting to fight her for Anthe. I think that's kind of fun, that in the filler episode he's just, like, her buddy. And I thought that it covered well, like, the issue of loving someone not for who they are, but how they make you feel. Like, he's very focused on, like, that feeling that he had when he was playing the piano with his sister. And that's all he actually cares about. Like, he doesn't really care about Anthe as a person. And I thought it was, like, done really well. And it's another example of how everyone wants Anthe for what she can do for them and not for who she really is. You know, it seems like none of these people care about her as a person, you know, but they want her power or they want, like, whatever feeling she gives them or whatever else. So I think that these episodes played well into the overarching plot of the show, which is kind of connected to, like, I was thinking, because this is in a magical girl tournament. Is Utena a magical girl? Not really. But I would argue that Anthe is a magical girl.
Okay.
She has powers and a transformation sequence, and she's a schoolgirl by day, and then also, like, the bride, the rose bride by night. So, like, I mean, not necessarily night, but you know what I mean. So, like, I would say that she's actually the magical girl, and that's, like, one of the ways that the show is more of a subversion of the trope of, like, the magical girl tropes. And, like, you could say it's more going into how, like, isolating and trapped you would really be if you were a magical girl and sort of the center of power and everything, because those who want to be in power, primarily men, will try to own you, use you, and make that power their own. In this kind of scenario, like, that's how it would be in real life in a way. And I think it goes into how in our society people can take something as pure as being like a magical girl and use it for their own gain. So it's about, like, the patriarchy and power structures, and I think that comes through a lot in these episodes, at least the first 2. The third one was just filler. But yeah, so I really liked it in that way because I think it gets, like, a little bit deeper into the actual themes of Utena.
I was about to be like, if you were like, this shouldn't be in the tournament, I was going to go in again about, like, was I the one putting this together?
I do argue that Anthe is
Okay.
a magical girl, just not Utena.
You had me in the first half.
Well, damn, Yin coming out with a whole freaking essay.
I had a thesis. I had to give my thesis on Utena.
It's usually
out
my
there.
MO.
So, Yeah, I would really agree with pretty much everything you said. The first 2 episodes were definitely good for like introducing some new characters, and yeah, the whole like Nanami trying to ruin Anthe sort of like rinse and repeat kind of thing for episode 4 was silly. Didn't need to be there, but you know, it filled time, I guess. And then the second episode, I think, definitely like really shined just because we got a little bit more further with one of our student council members and like going through the duel with that and establishing Miki's whole thing is about what Anthe can do for him because she can play the piano and things. And then episode 6, really just very silly. I enjoyed it, but like sometimes I feel like in these sorts of shows you kind of need a breather, and this is what these sorts of episodes are for. So as far as plot goes, I would give this, I'll give it a light yay.
Oh, I forgot to mention, and this is just a silly thing, the red-haired guy, like when he would show up just like shirtless, what was going on?
Yes. Toga
Because boxers don't
with the boxing
have
gloves.
shirts.
No,
You don't wear a shirt to
not
box.
during the kangaroo thing. When he confronted the blue hair guy and he was just standing there by the piano, like his shirt open, and he was laying on the
because they
bed,
had
his
just
shirt
finished.
open. That's
Yeah,
what
I
it
was
was
gonna
for.
say like he was just making out with his sister.
You didn't see the sister adjust her shirt as she came out?
Yeah.
They got it on or something.
Yeah, no.
They did something.
He was making out with Miki's sister.
Wow. Oh, okay.
We got to
completely
second
missed
base
it.
minimum.
I completely missed
Yes.
it. I was like, what is he doing? Okay.
You gotta pay more attention. How are you not paying attention when the president's on screen?
I don't know. I just blinked and he was like on the bed. Like,
Okay, that was a blink and it just happened.
what was happening? Okay.
That
I'm glad you guys could explain that. I had to like ask.
That was in Mickey's head, though.
Yeah, what
So-
was going on?
So the question is, what's going on with Mickey?
Okay, so Mickey was just having
We'll
some
get to
thoughts.
it. We'll get to it in characters.
Wait, his name's Mickey, right?
Whatever.
Okay,
Yes.
I was just saying.
But they said Mickey.
Yeah.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Envy?
It's a 90s dub. They mispronounce everything.
Yeah, that was one of my notes too. The sister definitely had sex with the president. Like, there's no doubt. Like, it was either hardcore makeout or they had sex. Like, there was no in between.
Yep.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes was basically setting Mickey up as a character and how he's not complete evil like the vice president and the student council, and he's not manipulative like the president is. He's I'll talk more about him in characters, but you know, I liked the setup of him in those 2 episodes. Yeah, the 3rd episode was, like you said, filler, and I didn't expect it from a show like this. I will say that. The whole first half of the episode where she thinks that her brother was the one that was trying to kill her when it was really, he's trying to get rid of the vermin in the garden. But then the second half of the episode was just the horse, the chickens, the boxing kangaroo that was like a Hajime no Hippo callback, or maybe that wasn't Hajime no Hippo, whatever boxer, Rocky, whatever, I don't know. Like the kangaroo even had a mouth guard in it. Like he punched out the kangaroo's mouth guard. I want to talk about some of the lines in these 3 episodes because I'll get more into the dubbing and production, but I had to talk about some of these lines. I love hearing about people's families' problems. Yeah, same. As meaningless as parsley. How dare you? As an Italian, all the herbs are great. Parsley, oregano, you name it. Like we take pride on using our herbs and spices. That's hidden love. You don't say. Boy toy. You don't say. Like some of these lines were just I had to write these down. Like that's how crazy they were in the moment. I mean,
Nice skirt, Sanji.
Yeah.
You haven't been relevant
Yeah.
for 3 episodes.
yeah. But I mean, first 2 episodes I thought were fine. 3rd episode, you remember how we did that mini filler tournament years ago after the Shonen Showdown? This could have been in that tournament, and it probably could have won.
No, it could not, because the winner was the Naruto episode where they tried to find Kakashi's face,
That was
which
a good
is
one.
which is what every filler episode wishes they could be.
Whatever. I'll give it a light yay for plot.
For the plot, I said just like in general, none of it is like overly complicated, even if it doesn't really make sense. Like there's plot holes, and you just kind of have to be like, okay, it is like not hard to follow. I love that. What's his name? The guy that is Zutena's frenemy.
Mickey?
Mickey.
That one's Mickey?
Mikey.
Mickey's the blue-haired one.
I thought we were talking about the little kid.
No,
Gotcha,
he's
okay.
irrelevant.
Yep. Unfortunately, he is not. I love that he gets super mad about a scenario he made up in his own head. And he was like, oh, if Anthony's your bride, like, are you just gonna let her play piano? I was like, yeah, if she wants to play piano. He was like, what if you tell her to stop playing piano? And Anthony was like, then I'll stop playing piano. And then he got so pressed, like, okay, now I need to defeat Utena, so Anthony will be my bride. So Utena can't tell her to not play piano. Even though Utena was like, I wouldn't do that, though. She can do what she wants, I don't own her.
Overthinking at its finest.
I mean, what else does a 13-year-old do?
Not much.
I don't have much to add to what everyone's already said, except, well, I do think 4 and 5 were good for introducing Mickey and, like, explaining his motivations. His motivations kind of don't make sense, which detracts from it just a little bit. And since 6 was just filler, I feel like this just wasn't maybe the best showing Utena could have had this week.
It's fair.
Because Mickey's also not that huge of a character. Like, he's gonna very quickly become like Sayonji, I feel. Where he's gonna pop up and they're gonna go, nice skirt, Mickey.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
So, what they had was good. I just feel like it was a little overall lacking this week. I might have felt differently if we had stopped after 2 episodes, I don't know. But I was like a little less wowed. So I'm overall just kind of like a meh.
I feel like I'm kind of in agreement with you on that one, Cozy, because like we mentioned that 6, we mentioned extensively that 6 is the filler episode. I felt like other than the actual fight, there was a lot of fillery stuff just in general throughout all 3 of these episodes, it felt like. Like, I know that part of this and part of the magical girl genre is that sometimes it is a bit of like a slice of life kind of show, but I was not expecting it to become this much of a slice of life show this quickly. Honestly, at a certain point, I was like, is this Oran? Is this Oran before Oran? Like, nothing but nothing. Episode 6 is straight up an episode of Oran. That's not even in question.
So true.
But I was like
No.
sitting there while they were like doing homework and Nanami was doing whatever she was doing. And I'm like, is this the same show that I was watching before? Where we had like this whole thing about end of the world and revolution and we're going to fight and all this. I'm like, what is going on?
That is something I forgot. They did. It's kind of like a scapegoat thing, or like, what are we gonna do? I don't know. We haven't gotten anything from End of the World lately.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still enjoyed watching these episodes. I think, number one, the melodrama that I really loved from the first 3 episodes is still here. It feels like it's going to be prevalent throughout the whole thing, which is very entertaining for me. But I don't necessarily know that it's great for the plot. And it might just be that like these, like you said, these episodes were kind of a lull a little bit in the actual action. Like, I think I'm still a bit of a light yay, maybe a meh to a light yay here. But I'm hoping if this moves on that we get more plot moving forward. Because this felt, I was hoping for a little more substance and didn't feel like I got it this week.
Was Utena this week a Spanish soap opera?
Guys, it's been a Spanish soap opera since day 1.
Yeah.
What were you watching?
Although I think episode 6 is definitely more of the Spanish soap opera.
Oh, hell no.
Very
4
dramatic.
and 5 were the Spanish soap opera. 6 was the filler episode from Oran.
I don't know.
Like 100%. The homework scene where she's like, and I will put this snail in her pencil case, and they'll be like, Auntie is a weirdo.
Yeah, like, absolutely. I will get into that more with characters, but yes, I absolutely agree. This whole thing is basically a telenovela. Speaking of characters, Chibi, do you want to take us into that?
Sure. I didn't really, have a whole lot on characters. I feel like character stuff was honestly, brought up quite a bit in plot. But I like Miki. He is, sort of, bland a little bit, but, kind of, again, establishing, what Anthe can do for him as a person, being his light, because, she can evoke the same feelings that, when he was younger, when he used to play piano with his sister. I think it's, I don't know, maybe sort of, for teaching him, making her your bride isn't necessarily, going to be the thing that, makes her happy. But I was surprised how much Nanami we got within these 3 episodes, mostly in like the first one and the last one. And all I really wrote for Nanami was, and I think this was probably about episode 6, Nanami, not everything is about you.
Yes, it is.
Oh, how wrong you are.
The sun doesn't come up until Nanami wakes up in the morning.
Yep.
But yeah, that's really all I had. There wasn't really too much that I at least saw for character development, but these episodes were kind of a curveball, I guess. So that's all I really got.
Overall, I like Mickey as a character, questionable motivations aside. Like, I didn't think he was a bad guy, and I think he did care about Anthe in his own weird way. Just, he had a weird way of showing about it, and I did overall like the resolution to his journey, and like Yen said earlier, I liked how he was basically a bro to Utena, which I actually found out that in the manga, the roles were reversed. He had a crush on Utena, not Anthe, so I wonder how that story played out in the manga.
Most people in the manga had a crush on Utena.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
that makes
true.
sense. She's everything.
Yeah. Speaking of Anthe, I did like how she showed a little bit of personality in these 3 episodes. She wasn't just the token prize to be won. Like, she was kind of quirky. She has her interests, and the whole sequence in episode, what was it, 4 or 5, where Nanami was trying to trick her with the
4.
animals. Like, 4. So, like, you were going to put a snail. It's like, okay, who carries around a snail? But whatever. Oh, I got a pencil case full of snails. Oh, okay, I'm going to get a freaking cobra or a snake. Okay, again, you're carrying around a snake with you. It's okay, my pet mongoose in the drawer is gonna take care of that. It's like, what? And then, oh, I'm gonna get a little squid or a little octopus. Okay, I got a 10-foot plush octopus in the closet. It's just like,
It's a balloon.
or a balloon, whatever. But it's like, I can't even get mad at this point. Like, they're just like, they know what they're doing. She knows what she's doing. She's like Mary Poppins with the animals.
Kind of feel bad for the snake.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
The snake didn't do
Yeah.
anything.
yeah.
Circle of
Utena,
life.
once again, we have to hear every episode or 2 of, oh, I don't want to be the Rose Brides. Like, we get it. But you do realize that what happens to Anthe, she can't say no, so she gets stuck with a jerk like the vice.
Cyanji.
Yes, Cyanji again. So it's like, you might as well just keep it up and, have a friend and a roommate and, maybe something later at the end of the series, but whatever. Nanami obviously dating, in air quotes, the elementary school kid was kind of ick, but at the same time, it was basically her lackey, so it really wasn't even romantic. And then Mitsuru, the kid, he's nuts. Like, at the end of the episode, he's just like, I'll join your family. It's like, bro, you're 9. You're in 4th grade. There's more to life than this. Wait a few years, you'll like other women. Probably one with better standards.
He doesn't even like her. He wants to be her older brother, so he likes Toga.
Is this whole show about the relationships we have for people that are just about making us feel better about ourselves?
I think so.
Damn.
Maybe.
The whole theme.
Yeah.
So who does
But yeah.
Utah want to be in a relationship with and why?
The prince! She wants to be him!
Oh my god. Everyone's terrible.
Yeah.
This is a Spanish soap opera.
But yeah, overall, the characters were... I was mostly positive with the characters. Just, they were crazy.
I'm sure everybody else put down, Blonde Girl is so annoying. This is Folger sponsored content. And she is such a big older brother.
That caught me off guard, I'm sorry.
She's such a large older brother complex that she gives boys that like her a sister complex. Like, oh, if you're into brothers, then I want to be your brother. Like, no. No. It's
That's
weird.
not how this works.
Take a step back.
So, in the same vein, why are there so many fucking, sibling complexes going
So
on?
many.
Because you have Mickey and his sister, he completely, disowned his sister, but he's ultimately chasing his sister.
Yes.
You have Nanami chasing her brother. You have the little kid chasing Nanami's brother. Nanami almost dying. Legitimately almost dying. She got pushed in front of a car. Let's be real. And her brother was just kind of oh my god, stop making up stories for my attention.
To be be fair, I feel like she probably has done that before.
Yeah, but he wasn't even, like, slightly concerned.
Would you be?
Yeah, I probably would be.
It's like, regardless of
wouldn't
whether it's your
be.
sibling, it's still Nanami.
Yeah.
If one of my siblings came home and they're like, I almost died today, I would at the very minimum be interested in the tea.
All right, that's fair.
But if it was a sibling that had a crush on you, wouldn't you kind of be like, damn?
I would be like,
I
how
wish
did
you
you find
missed.
my house?
Just be like, all right, spill the tea. How can I help them?
No, I'd be calling the cops because I'm like, we have a restraining order. But 4 episodes that were focusing on 2 characters, we had Mickey and Nanami. Again, I feel like it's kind of a really weak showing because, yeah, we got his motivation in that he's chasing this feeling that his sister gave him. But also, he's going about it in contradictory ways, and that's really his only character trait. We don't really get much else from him. He's just your standard Bishonen twink love interest. And then Nanami is just... They did a good job, I guess, with, like, expanding her and making it so, like, it wasn't painful to watch the episode, but, like, she's just annoying at this point. That is her character trait. So, like, it's just hard to look at it because, like, we got annoying bitch and we got plain white man, which isn't great in terms of character. We saw, like, almost nothing of Utena or Anthe, really. So, like, again, I'm like a meh here.
I don't mean to keep bringing it up, but the first thing that I did right was I'm concerned with how many people have sibling complexes in the show and how they all seem to revolve around the student council president. That being said, now that we're actually getting stuff from the student council president, what an addition to the show. I love it. Okay, so let's just put this out there. I don't think Anthony and Utena did that much this week. Utena's still funny here and there. They got a good line every now and then. The whole thing, like, yeah, we heard you, Sayoji. Like, that kind of stuff. That's great. Like, yeah, you sucks to suck. Whatever. Math test. Yada, yada. Great, but still not a whole lot going on. I feel like the main characters that we got here, because again, Mickey was not that interesting to me, is Nanami and the president, which I'm actually kind of good with. Like, yes, Nanami, annoying at times, but I never watched Buffy before until recently me and Yin started watching it a little bit. I think Nanami is like Cordelia in that, like, there's, yeah, a lot of times an annoying character, but other times, okay, it is, you're kind of funny. This is kind of fun to, like, fuck with you a little bit. That's fun. So, depending on how much Nanami there's going to be, I might be glad she's here. Now let's talk about Mr. President. Oh my god, what a hoe. I love this guy. He is the perfect soap opera villain that I was looking for this show. And you know what? It solidified it for me. Like, the moment, like, the sister comes out, he's like, what were you doing in there? There's no, like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then he sees the president, he's like, oh, hey, I was just here with your sister. Don't worry, I was thinking about you the whole time. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy on? This is amazing. I've never seen Real Housewives. He should be on every episode of Real Housewives. So yeah, like, honestly, he's the main highlight for me here. Even though, like, in episode 6, barely in it, still one of the highlights. Just shows up randomly shirtless to punch out a kangaroo. Why?
So,
what are you?
I have to bring this up just to kind of, like, tie us back to what we discussed. It's going to be last week for everyone watching, but it was a bit ago for us now. Do you only like him because of the English dub?
I don't know, because part of it, here's the thing. I do think that his actions are also super melodramatic and crazy, because here's the thing. Regardless of what the English dub is, those scenes of him, like, just sprawl out on the bed.
Still that way.
Still so extra. Still so much. He still did everything that he did here that he would have done in the sub as well. It's just maybe that. Here's the thing. I don't think he had that many funny lines. The only memorable thing I have was like, "Oh, you might be cuter than your sister." I'm like, okay, that's a lot. But like,
I think that's about what that line was in the sub. I could be wrong, but I remember having like a feeling that it's about the same.
I remember him being really similar in the sub.
Regardless of whether he is similar or not, from a voice perspective, his actions are that of
Yeah.
a soap opera villain. He is dramatic as fuck and is just fucking with other people's lives. And for a villain, I am here to watch that. And that is going to be fun, and I can't wait till he gets his ass kicked. But I'm going to really enjoy watching him be the bitch of the whole show. So overall, I'm a light yay. Like, I was kind of got to be a meh, but like, I got to be real with you. A really fun, like, not even sassy, but like just a really fun melodramatic villain who can really, really add some entertainment value for me.
Okay. Student council president or Henry Cavill?
No.
Okay, it's Henry Cavill because I actually like Henry Cavill. I'm not saying that I like the president. I like watching him be evil.
He's entertaining.
Like, you can enjoy watching a villain without like sympathizing with the villain. He's an asshole. He is a terrible person. Doesn't mean that he's not entertaining. I also like Hans Landa from Inglourious Basterds. He's a Nazi fuck, but he's entertaining as hell.
Okay.
I don't think we should immediately say that the president's necessarily a Nazi, but
I guess he's a fuck.
yeah, we can enjoy characters without like feeling like they're good people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would say that I was also like kind of a light yay. I think Utena didn't get much space to shine this week, unfortunately. I did agree with what Envy said about Anthe, though. I think she did get some more character development and some room to, like, you see, like, some of the fun side of Anthe and, like, her quirkiness, like her with her little doodles and her little animals. And I really like Anthe. She's probably my favorite character. I don't know, like her and Utena are kind of head to head for me, but I'd say maybe even Anthe a little bit more. So I really liked her here. I liked the arc for Mickey and what he brings to the show in terms of the overall themes, which I already kind of talked about. I like for him in these 2 episodes, and I really enjoyed like the small story about him. And I mean, the president is a lot of fun. I agree with what Al said about him. I enjoy the hell out of his drama. Blonde girl, Nanami, very irritating. I find some of her hijinks amusing. Sometimes it becomes a little repetitive. Like, I don't know. Like, she's a little much, but I don't know. She's good in small doses. I don't think I needed a whole episode surrounding her, though the filler was like fun enough, but I don't know. I don't want too much more Nanami, but I was kind of on the fence about her. So there were some misses and a lot of hits. So I would say overall like a light yay.
I think that's everyone. Envy, why don't you take us into world building?
Personally, I really didn't see a lot of world building. It was just more fleshing out characters or introducing new characters. We don't really, Mickey challenges Utena to do another duel, and we see that, but again, we saw that already, so that's nothing new. The only thing I had a question is, or not really a question, it's like, I wonder what the shadows mean. Like, I guess they're there just to spew gossip about the plots ahead or something like that.
That's the news club.
Were they introduced already?
Yeah, they've been there the whole time.
Yeah, they've been in every episode at least once.
Well, is that called the news club? Like, were they actually introduced as the news club?
The little, like, pop-up message, not, like, they straight up announced it.
Okay.
But they're really they're kind of supposed to be, like, omniscient narrators of the moment when a battle's going to take place.
Yeah, I kind of think that they're not dissimilar to, like, if you know, like, ancient Greek kind of theater, there was, like, the chorus that would kind of, like, narrate certain elements of what was going on.
Yeah.
While, like, I just think it's a device to help move things along here and there.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, I really didn't see any other world building, unless I missed something, so don't take this as anything the wrong way, but I guess I got to give world building an A, because they really didn't add to the world building other than this academy is fucking nuts with its students and animals. Well, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm with Envy here. I didn't write down anything for world building. It wasn't really expanded on much this week.
All I put is, why is there a horse in the hospital? I will give credit to Cece. She said the joke out loud.
I did.
Yeah, you can stop pouting now. But yeah, no, there really wasn't much going on. Besides the fact that we have established the school imports a lot of foreign animals, just because. For some reason, they're inside of the school because that horse was in the hallway. Yeah, there's really nothing much going on. I guess in world building, we can establish that the duels are actually hurting Anthe and Utena's grades. They flunked the test because of it.
Yeah.
So I'm also an A on it.
Yeah, a lot of stuff was just kind of rehashed here. The Rosebud Bride, blah, blah, and they gotta yada yada, all that sort of stuff, which I feel like is going to be the through line throughout the entire show, is Anthe being like, I'm the Rose Bride, I have to do this for you. And Utena's like, I don't want you to do that. I don't know why you can't hear me when I say these things. But, yeah. Still no word on End of the World, or what they are, or what's going on. I guess, if you really stretch, maybe there's something there of like, there's at least maybe, I'm going to bring it back to the president because I got to bring it back to the president. The president is making drama, and maybe that's how he's going to try to win the Rose Bride. If I can fuck everybody's life up enough, they won't be able to fight me properly, and then I'll win. So maybe if I look at it from that really like squint your eyes at it angle, maybe that's world building. Like, nay. Like, I'm really stretching, but because I want it to like it, but it's like, I'll give it a lightning.
I don't even know if I'm not really going to give a rating for this because I just don't think it applies in these episodes, to be honest. Like, I don't think these episodes are focused on world building, and I think this happened in some other rounds too, where I was kind of like, I just don't think that the show was invested in world building in these couple episodes. So I'm just going to say, like, I don't think it really applies here. There wasn't really any world building in these couple episodes. I don't think that's necessarily a negative point. It just wasn't focused on that. But yeah, I don't even know how to rate it because it's just, there was no world building.
Yeah, I would generally agree with everyone. These 3 episodes were not about the world building. It was like rehashing of like, the Rose Bride is basically at the whims of whoever the victor is and sort of like does whatever they say, lives for them. And like, we've already sort of established that in the prior 3 episodes. The only thing I wrote down that I thought was a bit weird was like when Mickey's trying to talk about like disbanding the student council. And for some reason, I want to say that like none of them like then wins at that point, and I was a bit confused. If anyone else remembers that part and could probably explain that to me, I just thought, I was like, this is an interesting thing to bring up, but again, it's just kind of like, if the student council disbands, then Anthe can do whatever she wants, but I guess this wasn't a thing that they could actually do. I don't know, I was confused. But yeah, I would also like, not really, I would give this like a dash. Only because there's nothing here.
All right. Cece, you want to take us into production?
Production's fine.
Short and sweet.
Yep.
I like the art style. The animation's okay. It's like, no complaints.
Listen, she wrote all of these notes in like 5 minutes.
Today
Yeah,
during my
yeah.
lunch break.
I know. So I feel like here is where we really saw a pretty steep decline in production value. We are getting almost like battered with repeat animation in, I think it was 5. Almost all of that is just like rehashing sequences we've already seen. And then where it normally shines is the duel scene, but the duel scene with Mickey was just bad. It was very jumpy and it didn't really show much, and it felt very low quality, which was kind of disappointing. Like, it gives the overall impression that her fight with him wasn't that important. And it also, like, it's like a continuity thing where, like, we haven't been shown why she's even fighting that duel. She still very much does not want to be the owner of the Rose Bride, so why did she even fight him? It's weird, and I love Utena so much, but again, I really feel like these were bad showings here, and I'm like, nay.
I kind of feel that a little bit. Like, it might be primarily because of the plot, where it was sort of like we were doing some more fillery stuff in that, and then we had like I'm not always gonna like knock a show for using repeat animation for like a transformation sequence or something that's like going to be a regular thing, because like it's just kind of how it always is. And if the sequence is good, I'll be happy to see it again. That being said, like I think maybe because the plot was maybe a little lacking this time around, I was seeing some of the shortcomings of it a little bit here and there. I think the art and the music is still fantastic, but I think you're right, some of the animation was starting to look a little bit cheaper in some spots. The dub has a bunch of great highlights. But it's getting kind of bad. Like there's honestly, like sometimes they're able to play it off as funny. Like nothing for nothing, I do think the triplets were hilarious in how they spoke, but also all of them just sound like really bad line reads, which that you play off as funny. I actually think Mickey sucked as far as like the actual dub and stuff goes. I'm trying to remember as far as like 4 and 5 goes, but by episode 6, like he has no feeling whatsoever in anything that he says. So yeah, I think I'm still a light yay because I still like the look of the show and I like the music and I like a number of bits of the animation, and like I'm starting to notice the backgrounds a little bit more, which are very nice. But like yeah, I'm starting to see some cracks in this a little bit, unfortunately.
I think there were definitely like some weaknesses in terms of the repeat animation. Like I don't usually mind it either, but that whole sequence where Nanami was like doing the animal thing and the snails and all that, like every single piece of it was repeat, and it started to like irritate me a little bit. So that was kind of annoying, but I don't mind it as much when it's like the transformations and stuff like that. It's like whatever, all magical ghost stuff does that. But yeah, that part I didn't like, and I think so there were like some flaws in the animation this time around, though the art style is still beautiful and really iconic, and the music is still really good, so those are highlights. I also really liked the flashback sequence that Mickey had to when like he and his sister were children and he got sick and everything. I think the way that they like framed those shots was really interesting, like with the bird cage and stuff, and there was just something really like interesting about those frames in particular, and like the design of that like I'd want to rewatch it again, like look more closely at it. But I thought those were really striking and really well done. And whenever they do those very stylistic moments, I think that's where the animation shines. But yeah, the quality of it, there were definitely some like edges that they had to cut. Like there were some, I don't know if it was a budgeting issue or what was going on, but like there were some problems. And also some highlights, so I would give it like a meh to a light yay this time around.
I feel like they knew it was filler.
Yeah.
That's probably an element.
Also, I just want to say, you guys are talking about like Nanami's repeat animation. The one that's really bothering me at this point is the student council introduction.
No, I like that. I think that's fun.
No, it is no Jesse and James and Meowth.
Okay, nothing for nothing. Maybe they should go a little harder on it.
I guess for me, I think for me, it's kind of like, oh, I get this sequence. I know I'm supposed to expect like a little bit of a confusing discussion with the student council, so I just don't think anything of it. I'm just like, I'm about to be confused for about like 2 minutes. Is how I think about it. Were you done, Yin?
Yeah, I'm done.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything everyone said, because I also had in my notes reuse of the Antihime weird plan from episode 4, which was meant to be filler, what kind of led into episode 5, which was actually somewhat relevant. And then there was also like the reuse of like all of the piano imagery in the song, which I like Sunlit Garden, to be honest. I really think it's a pretty song, but there was a point where I'm just like, please stop playing it. I don't want to hate it, okay?
Yeah.
But Chidi, it's the theme of the 2 episodes.
I get that, but I want to actually like it. Don't
or at
kill
least
it for
like
me.
At least have someone actually attempting to play it with some variation.
Yeah, like do some flourishes. You know what I love? You know what I would have loved to have seen? Can we please get dual piano? Please, a duet or something.
That costs money.
I would have loved to have seen that.
That costs money.
No, I want it.
I think it would have been okay even with like every time they stopped, they like gently trailed off. Like, where's my sudden like, you know?
Yes, yeah. But yeah, those are my notes. I would say production-wise, I would give it. I still like the art style and everything. I feel like I don't know, like their corners were cut, so I will give it a meh.
I guess I gotta be in the minority with this one. I didn't mind the animation in these episodes. Yeah, I mean, there was some repeat animation, but it didn't really bother me. I thought, nothing for nothing, the imagery in episode 6, the filler episode, was just so insane that I was enjoying it. And, the whole sequence with the, Nanami saying, I'm gonna do this, blah, blah, blah. But then, every time one of her plans falls through, and she gets thwarted, the animation she does on her face cracked me up. The Auntie's reactions cracked me up. And then, the whole sequence with the animals in the hall and the boxing kangaroo. Like, I thought that was funny animation. Like, I thought it was really creative. And I know, Al, you said that the dubbing wasn't that good this week. I'll be completely 100% honest. I was never fully 100% a fan of the dub from the very beginning. I just didn't want to say it out loud because I didn't want to piss people off. But I was kind of not feeling the dub for most of these 6 episodes. So whenever they intentionally had, I'm going to assume it was intentionally bad, dubbing for the triplets, I was like, you know what? You win for the week. That was great. That was beautiful. So, yeah, I got to be a light yay for production. I had fun with these 3 episodes.
Envy, I got to be real with you. You got to stop worrying about whether we're going to dislike your opinion.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I also agree with you because this dub is not for me, and I have been repeatedly saying it.
Okay. Cozy, you want to take us into final thoughts?
Sure. I continue to use final thoughts as just kind of like an extraneous thoughts instead of like actual final thoughts. And because I was not judging production off of dubbing quality, since we all kind of agreed to that, this was kind of where I put all of like my dub funny moment stuff. Like episode 4, someone tried to say on guard and it sounded like on God. And I'm like,
you serious?
Oh my god, the dub is relevant still.
No cap.
Episode 6 is where I took the most notes because were we getting dinner? I don't remember what it was, but we were both in the kitchen when episode 6 started, and I kind of like came back out to the living room to pause it, and as I was walking down the hallway, I am like, why does it sound like someone is having sex on screen right now?
What?
Because Nanami's whole sequence where she's running and falls in front of the car, she goes,
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I actually kind of thought that too.
I was just like, what is happening?
I was like, do I need to close my door for this?
And again, like, I couldn't see the screen, so I was just like, oh my god, I don't remember this. Cece has said she was saying you're a fool to her brother. I kept hearing you're a bull.
And then there was a bull later.
Yes. It's all coming together.
So I didn't even think of it in that way. I thought of it in like BOWL, bowl,
Oh.
not the animal. So it was just me sitting there like, it's gotta be me. It's gotta be me. I'm the one who's wrong. And then of course we had like the, nice skirts, AYoN G. Like, really just bad dubbing. Bad dubbing, funny moments, but bad dubbing. Overall, like, the messaging I can get behind, at least for the Mickey episodes, because, like, one of his things was being surprised that he's like, oh, love conquers all, and it's like, yeah, that's love, Mickey, not treating someone else like an object. That does not conquer all. But, like, we still don't have, like, it was just such a bad week for Utena, and I'm so sad.
Yeah, I mean, I think these episodes were fun, but I don't really feel like we like made progress in a way that I'm really happy about. Like, we get a couple of characters, and I they're, from everything everyone's saying, that it sounds like they're going to be regulars. But that's kind of a mixed bag because on the one hand, yeah, Mickey's fine. He doesn't really add anything. Nanami's going to be a regular now? The president's going to be regular? Okay. Like, it's bouncing around a little bit. Like, the president to me, again, was the highlight of these episodes, but, like, he also wasn't in it that much for me to be like, wow, amazing. Like, I'm still enjoying myself, but these episodes felt like a little more fluff than actual substance, and if they continue, I'm hoping for some episodes with a little more meat going into the next round. So, overall, I feel like I'm very, like, forgiving to a lot of stuff. I'm gonna give it a light yay, because I was enjoying myself, but I'd like to see more next time around, if they move forward.
I don't know. I'm gonna disagree with you guys about the Mickey episodes. I think that they did have substance. I think they did have like a lot to do with the major themes of the show. And I feel like this show is very like theme heavy, maybe more so than plot heavy a lot of the times. And a lot of it like ties into like the major like what the show is about, you know? And I feel like those episodes were really important in their own way. And I feel like even as just like 2 isolated episodes, I feel like they were really well done. So like, I think those were strong episodes. I think the filler episode, it depends on what you're looking for. It was very fillery and silly, which it's like, if you want that, then you want that. If you don't want that, then you don't want that. I think it was a fun, silly episode. It wasn't like my favorite episode of the show. I actually, like Cozy said, I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. But, you know, I had a good time with it. I think overall I had a really good time with these episodes. So I'm going to give it like a light yay to maybe close to a full yay. But there were some like downer parts for me, like some of the repeat animation. Some of like the Nanami stuff was also like a weak point. So I'd give it more of a light yay this time around. But overall, I still think it was pretty strong.
So yeah, I would say these episodes are a little bit more with like kind of more establishing like some other characters other than like our main two. And I think they sort of did that well. At least with Miki, yeah, he doesn't really have a whole lot to him, but I kind of think that's just how he's supposed to be. And then we got a bit more of Nanami and her being annoying, and yeah, we kind of need to establish like more of that about her, because like you gotta establish, yes, this girl's annoying, yes, she has a brother complex, and you know, other things. But I feel like it all sort of serves a purpose in one way or another, and like, we're gonna make our rounds of the student council here, so getting to Mickey now isn't really a thing. We're gonna probably get to someone else here shortly. So as far as like these 3 episodes, like I didn't really have like amazing things to say about them or really bad things to say about them either. I'm kind of like somewhere in the middle, and honestly, like I didn't really mind them, so I'd give them like a light yay.
I'd say I'd be somewhat interested in at least finishing the first arc of this show, which goes up to episode 13, which is I guess they call it the student council arc or whatever. So so that means, you know, I bet you the final fight of this arc will be with the council president, and we get to see the epic duel. Maybe he's shirtless in the duel. He just puts the rose on. Maybe he just puts the rose on his chest or
mouth.
Something like that.
No,
Yeah, or in his mouth.
In
there
his
you go.
mouth.
There you go. Oh, are you being serious?
This is a Spanish soap opera.
No, I'm
Okay.
going off of your theory here.
Okay.
If he's
Okay.
shirtless, he puts the rose in his mouth.
Okay, but yeah, I'd be interested. I'd be interested to see how the standard. I don't want to say slice of life, but I'd be interested to see how the standard student academy section turns into the second arc of the show, and the third arc where it probably gets a lot more darker. So I've been interested to see how the first arc ends in that transition. So I guess it's a very light yay for right now.
I don't know how to word this.
She put one thing for notes. It's a good magical girl show.
Yeah. it knows. Okay, so I know I keep saying that, like, a lot of these shows don't fit here, and that's not on Al, that's not on anybody for putting them into this tournament. It's more like, this genre was created as, like, a space for little girls to feel, like, important and magical. Like, maybe you're not the prettiest or the smartest, but, like, you can still have power. And I think a good magical girl show knows its target audience a great one can reach beyond that, and one that ignores its audience, it might not be a bad show, but I don't think it's a good magical girl show, and therefore, like, it doesn't deserve to move on in this competition. But, like, that doesn't mean they shouldn't be discussed. So I think they have their place in this tournament, but that place is, like, at the bottom, not moving forward. To liken it to something else, kind of like how Blue's Clues is a good educational show. Bluey is a great one because it goes beyond its target audience of small children. And then something like Avenue Q, not for children, but it does check off a lot of the same boxes as, like, educational content because it's a parody of Sesame Street. So I think we can talk about that, but I don't think it would be, like, in the running for best educational content, you know?
You have a good argument. I just feel like that example you just pulled out of your ass at the same time.
It's a little more extreme than I think some of the ones we have here, but okay, I feel you.
A little extreme, but, like, I think Utena, like, it checks all the boxes. It's a good magical girl show. And I think it's entertaining enough that it can appeal to, like, older audiences.
I think actually going off of your thing, Utena is a lot about subtext and theming and not outright stating things, which is not something... Utena's target audience isn't little girls.
No.
This is more like tweens to teens.
This, I would say Utena generally, like, it falls somewhere between shoujo and josei from what I've seen online, as far as, like, target demographics.
Okay,
So-
but, like, I wouldn't say it's, like, inappropriate for young girls to watch.
Yeah, but I know
Like, there's nothing extreme about it, and, like, the themes might be a little more subtle. They might not come out and say it, like, today's lesson is make sure you share, don't own other people.
This is discussing more adult concepts around relationships, which young girls wouldn't have anything to do with yet.
Yeah.
So, like, I get what you're saying, but I feel like you're making an argument against it on accident.
Okay, alright. So maybe not, like toddlers, but I think, like, up to preteens. I think that's included in, like, the general target demographic. So I think it's still okay.
I think magical girls are just for feminism.
Okay.
So what did
That's
you
all.
think about these episodes of Revolutionary Girl Utena?
I think this is a good magical girl show.
Okay.
That was
We're
it.
having philosophical conversations here.
Don't get me wrong, I do like it, but I'm also like, so what did you think about these episodes?
We haven't heard a quack yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't get quacked.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
I'm like, I haven't heard a quack this entire time.
I figure I would give everyone a little bit more time since we have less to discuss. Okay, so is that everything that we want to talk about Revolutionary Girl Utah for now? Feeling good?
Sure.
Okay.
I think so.
Let's move on to its competitor from the locked and loaded category, Granbelm. So the war of Granbelm continues. We picked up where we left off in the middle of a fight, and then I think we skipped to another month later. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Was anyone else having a little bit of an issue being like, how much
Yes.
time is going by?
Yes.
Okay.
So
'Cause
Absolutely.
I was also having a little bit of that, but every single time they go into a battle, I'm like, okay, so it's like another 28, 29 days.
Yeah,
Month-
it has
Yeah,
to.
like a month
So-
has passed.
Yeah. I guess since we know that it's not so bad, but it's also like, oh wait, is this the same battle? No, this is another battle. Okay. It's like we're just gonna skip over everything that happened in a month. I feel like a lot can happen in a month, but whatever.
Yeah.
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 So the girl who is young forever
Nene.
figured out how to make a super barrage attack that is putting everybody on their heels. But then we skip to next month when they figured out how to stop her. And then they fight and do that stuff. And Anna's really losing her shit. And yeah, it's a whole bunch of more. We're doing more fighting in that. We're dealing with more drama in the real world, but also
We got
less
strategy.
Yeah, strategy.
Yes.
Which is good. I do like seeing. Well, I'll get to opinions later. Yeah, I feel like we're starting to see some more of the characters' motivations. We're starting to see a couple more things as far as like why people want certain things or why they're acting a certain way, which is happening. And yeah, Oh yeah, we got to find out what the whole deal is with Anna hating Ernesta.
Yep.
And the whole thing that went down with the family, which has been building
Yep.
up. So yeah, did I miss anything?
Sounds good.
Nope, and you're leading us into plot.
I know.
Yes.
Okay, now I will give my opinions about this. So okay, yeah, like I think I enjoyed this. I think as far as like getting the extra backstories and stuff, and like having the fights and everything, and especially like the element of we kind of is similar to Utena because we had like 2 episodes all about one type of fight, and then 1 episode afterwards where it's like, hey, let's look at these like relationship stuff. Yeah, I liked the elements of like this fight with, I forget the name of the mecha, but the long-range one from Nene.
Oh, Ji Guanglong.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that right, and it's gonna hurt everybody's ears. So yeah, that I thought was really good. It can transform. That was really interesting, but also it can just blast you to hell from a whole bunch of different places. So how do you deal with that? And they were trying to like figure all that out. So that was great. Like, I don't like that they're loosey-goosey about how much time is passing, but I like the development, I like the alliances, I love the inevitable betrayals that seem to be coming. I've seen Fate's Day Night before, so I've seen this, but it's also, I think, again, it's executed decently. And question, did anyone sit through the final credits of the last episode?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, nothing for nothing.
Okay, we all did.
That is a
Perfect.
hell of a good smash cut. I'll give you points for that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Midway through the song, just
I
stops.
was just getting up to turn it off because it cuts to black for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, we're done. And then it cut in. I'm like, oh my god!
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give
Yeah.
you know what? I'll give you, you had me there.
I am gonna apologize in advance because I feel like everyone likes this show. I'm gonna be such a hater. I think
That's
this
fine.
show is completely boring as hell.
Wait, before you go on,
Okay.
Envy, I want you to take notes. This is how you just tell people your opinion.
I gotta get my thoughts out.
Listen, look at the channel we're on, and I am such a hater for Madoka Magica.
Yeah.
Everything else is excusable.
You're allowed to hate. You're allowed
Sometimes you
to
gotta
hate.
be a hater, and I am a hater of Granbelm. I just feel like this show wants to be like serious and intriguing so bad, but it's actually just so quiet and dull the entire time. Even in battles, it's like I've seen mecha that has its own like character and stuff. Like the mechs have like something special about them, or they have something that like makes them feel alive or whatever, or like you can feel like the metal, like when things get crushed, it's cool, you know? But it's like, this is lifeless. Like, this whole show is completely lifeless to me. And it's like, all these girls are non-entities. I swear. Like, I forgot who half of them were. Like, I literally forgot half of these casts. I was like, who are these little brunette girls? They all look the same. They all kind of act the same. Like, half of these girls are the same person to me. Like, I swear. I don't care about any of them. Except Anna, I can't stand her. I'll get into it more in character. But, like, I just feel like everything is so, like, at a 2, like, in terms of energy. And it just bothers me. And I just feel like I don't get, like, anything out of this. I think I zoned out through like most of it. So, but I don't feel like I missed anything. And they skip months, which was something Al brought up that I really don't like about this. So they skip like a whole month every time. And it's like, did nothing happen in that month that I should care about? And it's like, none of these characters changed or progressed at all in that month. So it's like, okay, it's like we blink and now it's the next month and nothing has changed. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like life to me. This feels like moving on to a new, it's like a new level in a game or something. And it just feels so like unreal to me that I just check out. I'm good. I'm done. Nay.
Oh,
You're making me rethink a few of these things. You're
Okay.
making me like actually think a little. You know what? I'll save my thoughts.
Okay. You can rebut me anytime.
so I will say, and I think part of it's production, so I'll save that till later. But I thought like sort of the fight sequences were like fun and interesting to watch. It was fun to sort of watch the girls like strategize with each other. And then I don't like the quieter moments where they're like going to each other's house. is, and they're like trying to form alliances. We're learning bits and pieces about them and their lives. Like, that's all, like, I didn't really necessarily mind that because it gives me a little bit more perspective on like what exactly is going on and what they're all trying to achieve. Yeah, there are like some quieter moments and they can come off kind of dull, but it's also just, I think the show is probably just like, and I guess maybe because like their mechs aren't really like alive, they're like an extension of their soul. They're basically like the magical girl soul gem yada yada thing. I'm trying to think of how to explain this. Like, I think it's fine. Like, I definitely feel like the drama is being dramatic and like a lot of things are happening. A couple of you, I was actually, when we were on a call last week, I mentioned that I actually had to rewatch some stuff because too much was going on and I was lost. So, while I think that like this show is definitely one that like kind of demands your attention a little bit in order for you to really like get what's going on, because I did actually have to rewatch these 3 episodes because you look away for like 2 seconds and all of a sudden they're talking about a completely different thing. So I feel like the plot is going pretty fast, which with how quickly the months are going by with the moon cycles, like, yeah, I can definitely see that. I would say, I'm sorry if I'm not really like following up all of my thoughts with endings here. I would say it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is definitely something that like you kind of need to be on your toes when you're watching it. So I would say I'm gonna give it like a light yay, more like a somewhere between like a high meh and a light yay, because like the plot is plotting and it's going somewhere, but it's kind of like something where like if you disengage for like 2 seconds, you're gonna be hella confused.
I'm kind of in the middle between Al and Yin, where I do find the concept interesting, and I think there are some interesting elements, but I also agree that I'm not completely 100% invested either, or at the very least, I'm not like, okay, I'm ready to see what happens next, like I am for other shows. It's more of, okay, I'm kind of intrigued, but I just feel like there's something missing. So the episode focusing on the young girl, well, the girl that's internally young, like I feel like they could have done more with her story. I liked the story with the girl, with the young girl, you know, trying to save her poisoned or cursed sister that's in the coma. And I like the team up that they had with the main 2 girls, but I feel like they could have done more with that. And then episode 6 was the Anna episode, and it's definitely, again, an interesting concept, but again, I feel like they could have done more, especially with the big reveal at the end where it's, oh, hey, Anna, you're not full of shit at all. You barely have any magical power at all. It's your adopted sister that's the real prodigy. So you could be good at anything else, just not magic. It's like, whoa. I mean, she kind of goes off the deep end because of that, but, you know, we'll get to that later. So I guess I'm kind of like a high meh to a light yay with plot. And I just remembered, you know, this is completely off topic, but I did go on a rant about Sailor Moon a couple weeks ago. So
True.
It's not like I'm unafraid to voice my opinion. So
You want to feel it more.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of in the same boat. Like, I wrote down, meh, it's not sticky. Which is what I say when...
Do not say that on the internet again.
No,
That's
explain
fair.
your thought, please. I need an explanation for that thought.
Like, it's not sticking to her brain. She
Yeah.
doesn't
Okay.
remember it.
All right.
I
Yes.
feel that.
That's what I thought you meant.
Yeah.
It's not sticky enough. It's not sticking to the noodles.
Yeah. Listen, my brain is smooth, and people who use glue know that you need some little, what's it called?
Traction, friction.
Tackiness?
No.
You need to, like,
You need
slightly
bumps. You need-
erode the surface.
Yeah. You need to, like, sand it down a little bit if you want anything to stick real well.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's like macaroni art.
Yeah. That's why I had so many issues with my braces, because my teeth are abnormally smooth, apparently.
Can't tell if it's a brag.
It's not. I had braces for 5 years.
Oh,
Ooh.
God.
They kept falling off my teeth. It was a nightmare.
Oh, no.
Ow.
Your teeth were not porous enough.
Exactly. My brain is the same way, and so, like, some stuff just isn't sticky, so it will not stick in my brain. This show, like, I think I said the same thing about the Snow White show.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one, like, I feel like that's interesting, but I cannot get any of it to stay in my brain. This
You
one,
and me both.
This one was, like, not quite as bad, but it's still, like, the time skips, it's a little weird. It wasn't until, like, the 3rd episode I was like, okay, hold on. I'm kind of interested now. But it might be too late at this point.
Well, since I'm going last, I feel like I should just point out the obvious that me and Elle are probably the only, like, really big Gundam people here. So it kind of tracks that all of you are not really as into this.
I would like to point out I've never watched a Gundam series the whole way through. So you could...
The best way to enjoy Gundam,
I don't know
honestly.
that you should necessarily say that I'm a Gundam person. I do enjoy mecha, but, like, I'm gonna be real. I think the
I
What-
enjoy some mecha too.
what Gundam series have I actually seen? It was probably that one that I showed you guys. G Gundam is probably the one that I saw the most of. But continue. I don't know where you were going with this necessarily.
Like, I feel like it makes a lot of sense that people who aren't necessarily into, like, this kind of genre, where, like, there's kind of a whole lot of politicking and, like, strategy stuff going on, like, it makes sense that it's not holding the interest of the people who aren't really into that. In the same way, sometimes when we get Slice of Life, Elle is kind of like, this is boring. But I do feel like, just the one point where you're like, this is hollow. I do want to point out, they did acknowledge this, and I think it's on purpose, because Mangetsu keeps bringing up how she feels empty and her life is hollow and meaningless. So I will say it has a purpose for feeling that way in the show, because we are, like, for all intents and purposes, Mangetsu is our protagonist.
I see what you're saying, but I feel then that it should only be her that feels that way. And we would need a contrast because she wants to be the mecha magical girl. So I feel like the other character should feel like she has some life to her so that it could inspire the main girl to want to be that way. But I'm not getting that from any of the characters. I think that was my critique. But I see what you're saying.
And just a counterpoint, there's a number of slice of life that I enjoy.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying, like,
It just has to be good.
they're never gonna enjoy a mecha show ever, but, like,
I feel like
I feel
sometimes
like
the
as-
unfortunate thing is that, like, sometimes we just end up watching a show that we're like, oh, we don't really know this one, and it just ends up not being that good.
I think what's happening is, like, normally a show has to be kind of, like, exceptional in the genre to get people who aren't normally into it interested. Like, for a lot of people getting into magical girls, their gateway was Madoka because it was an exception, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like this specific group of people, though, this show isn't really the target because this isn't something you necessarily enjoy. But I don't think that actually speaks to the plot of the episodes, because I feel like their plot was really well done. It was all interconnected, and even though we were focusing on such hyper-specific things each episode, it had, like, a greater overall bearing on what was happening overall. So I'm actually a yay here.
I don't mean to stick to this category for longer than we need to, but you guys actually got me thinking a little bit. There were a few times that I was zoning out a little bit in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't necessarily know as far as, like, it being mecha is the thing that I want, but I do like the sort of Battle Royale, Hunger Games, Fate Stay Night especially, the sort of, like, this is a free-for-all tournament sort of thing.
Yeah.
Do I like this because I want to like it?
And it's like, I am a huge fan of Fate. I mean, I love, like, Fate Stay Night and
that's
Fate
mostly
Zero.
where I'm leaning in, yeah.
But it's like, I don't feel like this did it as well. I don't feel like it was executed as well.
Maybe it's an element of, I don't know that many shows that try to do it that well to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, it's
So
rare that
it might
people
be an
take that
element of
angle.
me, like, really just like, I want this to work. And I think on some, I'm not going to change what I said earlier, but it's making me think a little bit.
I did also the time skip forward, but then they flashed back to them talking
Pick a
about stuff.
timeline.
That was weird. That was extremely weird.
Oh.
I'm like,
Yeah.
make up your mind.
Yeah.
Like, if we're flashing forward, flash forward to the conversation, flash forward again. Don't flash forward, then immediately within a minute, flash us back. That was dumb.
I think that was my only complaint about that Speed Racer movie we watched. And I was like, this is a great movie, but this one section right here where you're explaining what's going to happen, and then you show what's going to happen, but then you flash back to before it happens, and then we watch it happen all over again. I'm like, this could have been edited way differently and would have been better. But enough about Speed Racer. We should rewatch that, though. That was a fun
It's
ass
fun.
Yeah.
better than you think.
Oh, so much better than we thought it was going to be. Ian, why don't you take us into characters?
Yeah, I already kind of talked a little bit about my feeling on the characters. I do feel like a lot of them blur together. I feel like they try to give them all like their own individual motivations and things like that. But like there are too many people. And I feel like they've been trying to like smush too many stories into very few episodes. And I think if they would have tried to like, and I think Envy kind of alluded to this, that like we need more. And I feel like there just wasn't enough of each character for me to get a sense of who they are or what they care. Like, they give me a little bit, but it's like, I feel like some of these characters needed whole episodes or something. And we've seen some magical girl shows where they dedicate like a whole episode to like the character, or at least half of an episode. And I feel like this just went by. Like, I think the pacing is strange, especially because it flips between months and things like that. And I think it worked as a disservice to the characters. I feel like we never get a full sense of anyone. We just get a little taste of each person. And it makes everyone very forgettable to me. And I feel like the main character, being kind of a hollow person, like that is one of her qualities. But it's not a quality I always like in a main character. I feel like it makes it hard to like want to follow this character and watch them. Some hollow main characters people pull off really well, but it's like, I don't feel like this one stuck really well. I think Monica actually did it better, in my opinion. And I think she doesn't have a very good side character to play off of. I don't feel like her friend, the other moon girl, I don't feel like she has a strong enough personality. So I just feel like the dynamics are not the best. I feel like each individual character doesn't have enough time to shine. And I feel like they each have an interesting core, but they don't give them enough time to really make sense to me. But they have interesting ideas for each one of them. I feel like even Anna, they had an interesting idea, but she becomes so grating because she is just angry and screaming all the time that it's like, I don't like her. Even though I feel like she has an interesting arc hidden in there, they make her so annoying and just so like over the top with her pettiness and anger. And then I hear what the backstory is and I feel like it's supposed to make me feel bad for her, but I'm just like, get over yourself. Like I still just can't stand her at that point, you know? And it almost feels like she's just more petty now. And I just like, I hate her more every episode that goes by. And I just like think that they really did a poor job at making her a likable character, if that's what they were trying to do. Maybe she's supposed to be an unlikable character, but I feel like in that moment of the reveal, I was supposed to feel something for her, and they just didn't earn it because they never showed me a glimmer of her being like a sympathetic character aside from that moment. So it's like, well, I don't care, bitch, you know, you get what you get. So it's like, I just really don't give a fuck about any of these characters. And then they're in battle, and it all becomes like a wash. Like I don't care who wins or loses. And that's the problem with having like a battle heavy series with characters that they don't invest in. And like in a series that's heavy on battles, like I love like fantasy books and fantasy movies like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. They spend so much time fleshing out these characters so that you care who wins and loses and who dies. And they just didn't do that here. And that's why I'm a nay on characters.
I wonder if this would have been something for character-wise had they, instead of being a 12-episode anime, been a 24-episode anime. Would that have probably helped?
Do you mean like Fate Zero?
Like Fate Zero!
I know they're not in the tournament. Do we want to retroactively put Fate Zero in the tournament? Saber could be a magical girl. She has a transformation sequence and she was summoned from something blah blah blah.
But
I'll be the one to say it. Fate is just like a step up from Sword Art.
Okay, I don't think you should be on the channel anymore, quite frankly, at this point.
Wow.
This is an argument for a different thing. This is Patreon.
Yeah, it's a Patreon.
It really is. But yeah, all that to say is like, I feel like maybe with such an action heavy show, maybe to give us a couple of lulls in the action with some more character development sort of like episodes, maybe that would have helped a little bit. But, you know, that's, you know, hindsight's 2020 kind of thing. I would say like for these episodes, like the only character I didn't really like feel like we got anything or at least a little bit from, and maybe I'm just because there was so much else going on with all of the other characters, was Ernesta. Just I feel like she's sort of like kind of there for like a lot of exposition and stuff. We got a good bit from Nene, kind of like establishing like, you know, how she has her sisters and her mom used to be the mage of their family and how their mother went away. And now she is like the mage of the family, and now how she can no longer grow and because of the magic. And, you know, like she basically like has developed a very deep relationship with her two younger sisters who now look much older than she does. And I think her sort of backstory is like sad, but it's like kind of like, oh, these are some of the prices of magic. And then we got all of that stuff with Anna, and I am full agreement with Yin. They gave us that reveal, and I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to feel bad, but I don't. And does that make me a terrible person? But then the end credit sequence came. Is like, okay, I don't feel bad about this, not one bit, because bitch is psycho. Which, and maybe that's partly maybe because of her family, but. You didn't have to murder your mother. I'm sorry. So we got a little bit of Kuon, and that's the white-haired girl, and sort of like what's going on with her, and you know her sister being cursed, and the blue-haired girl. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Shisui,
but Shisui is also like. Okay, I'm like, are you the proper villain of this show? Because you are really scary from like the little bits that we have seen of her. And then the only other one that I have anything of note here is like, and this is because I got a little bit of a spoiler, unfortunately, but Mangetsu and the emptiness thing, like that is actually relevant. So I am not really gonna harp on that because there.
How did you get a spoiler?
I was reading.
What have we told you about?
And I got a spoiler. It never leads to good things, apparently.
If men find out we can read, they're going to tell the church.
But yeah, so like the whole emptiness bit, that is actually relevant to Mangetsu's character later on down the line. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say for that.
It's okay, Chibs. I know about the end twist with them too as well, so don't feel bad.
Okay.
Y'all stop reading ahead.
Yeah, now I want to go read it.
Damn, was I the only one who didn't read ahead?
I guess so.
I mean, this was an anime original, so reading ahead was basically reading Wikipedia.
Yeah.
What have I told you about Wikipedia?
I was like scrolling, looking at information to like get names and things, and I got spoiled.
Oof.
I kind of bring up my mixed reaction to the plot was basically in the sense where I do want to like these characters because the girl, I don't remember names, so the girl that's eternally young, like she seems cool. I mean, I feel bad for her situation, and you know, she gets defeated in the tournament, and she tries to help out the main pair in the next episode. So it's like, good for her. She's respectful, and the little sister trying to save her big sister. She doesn't seem like a bad person. She just wants to save her sister. So there's that, and I don't mind the main two. So yeah, overall, I don't mind the characters. Anna's former sidekick, she's kind of interesting in the sense of she was playing the dumb one the whole time, and now she's like, yeah, you're no longer useful for me, so you can go F off. And then Anna, well, I understand the whole firstborn, she's the actual only natural born daughter, so she wants to inherit the family magic, and she's upset about that, but she's a total bitch, and she kind of goes off the deep end, literally, at the very end. So, I guess I'm kind of like with plot, I'm a high met to a light yay with characters.
I liked that we got to see a little bit more of everybody. Don't know if it was enough, but most of the characters did get a minute. I wrote, oh damn, Pinky Dinky Doo is psycho. And then the whole finale thing, I was like, wow, Flamenco Girl's taking this really well. Like, it's almost out of character how well she's taking this. And then never the fuck mind.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to say, I think it was during that part, Cozy was like, girl, the battle is over. Why are you still in your dress? I'm like, I don't know. I come from a convention. Sometimes I still sit in my cosplay for a little bit just to feel fancy.
Okay, but all the other girls, like, they get transformed into it when they go into their Armanox. So I feel like that implies that Anna is dressing in the flamenco dress and then going to battle.
She's just that
doing
bitch.
that in her bedroom. She's not powerful enough to get a new outfit.
Isn't the dress slightly different, though, in battle, though? Because it's got sleeves and then the collar, and I think maybe she just likes that outfit.
Oh, her transformation is like Utena's.
Yeah.
It's just a couple accessories.
There you go.
Either that, or she commissioned to have her magical girl outfit made in the real world.
Okay, hold on now. If you had the money, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of ugly.
I love it.
I mean, not that outfit specifically, but my magical
Right.
girl outfit, yes.
Yeah.
I like the flamenco outfit. I think it's cute.
Yen, I feel like part of the reason you might feel like you don't care about these characters, or we're not really getting a lot of characterization, again, is because you're not really invested or paying that much attention. Like, you kind of admitted you zoned out, but this is a very character-heavy show. We are constantly being fed information about these girls, their driving forces, and why they're trying to do the things they do. We had 2 really great episodes focusing on Nene, and I was kind of sad that we weren't gonna see her anymore, but they're keeping her around apparently. And I feel like she is gonna still be pretty relevant because they have implied that her and her sisters are trying to research magic in general to see why it exists in the way it does. Weird that she had like a literal soul gem though. Like, that definitely feels a little bit like a really heavy ripoff. Within the first, 10 minutes of episode 4, I'm like, this blue-haired bitch is gonna be the big bad. I'm calling it now. And every subsequent scene with her afterwards, we were really just, shown further and further under the mask. She is a total psycho. And, we got a little bit of focus on Kuon in 3, 4, and 5. But, 5 is where it really came through because we're setting up her conflict with fuck, I already forgot. She's sweet. Nope, I'm not confident. Blue-haired bitch.
French. That's fine.
We're setting up the conflict because they're really hinting that the blue-haired girl is the one who put the curse on Kuon's older sister. And, we still have more to explore with her because they outright stated that her sister was participating in the battle before her. So, we still have a way to go with her character. Ernesta actually doing the magic instead of Anna was a very, like, easy thing to clock. And while Anna is annoying, I feel like the reveal where she doesn't really have magic was not supposed to make us feel bad for her. I feel like that was her comeuppance moment, but we were also supposed to sympathize, like, Ernesta never wanted to hurt her. That's why she started the lie in the first place. And everyone else continued to feed into this delusion that Anna was, like, such this unheard of prodigy. And they kept letting her establish herself as this. And then, yeah, no, I feel like that would warrant a mental breakdown to have that all kind of ripped out from underneath you. The Mangetsu twist, where she did kind of, like, go psychopathic in the Nene fight, because to me it felt like the Suzaku after he got the Gios of don't die, live. Like, she really just went balls to the wall, I'm gonna destroy everything. I would have respected them if they had knocked her out right there, but that twist was also really, really good. And I was actually willing to accept Anna at the end of episode 6, taking it really well, just based off of the fact that I'm like, okay, well, they just told her she actually has no fucking power. What is she actually gonna do about it? Like, she can't do anything. And then she, like, kills her mom, so I guess I was wrong. That was definitely, like, a holy shit moment, which I feel like it's really hard to get those in animes nowadays. Because, like, it's kind of like you go into stuff expecting, like, bad things to happen, and while I didn't think that this one was necessarily like this is like a little girl's, like, I did think this was kind of like on our lighter end of the magical girl spectrum, and now we have someone murdering someone else, so yeah, we definitely took a twist there. But, like, I'm a yay on these characters. Like, we established them all working together. We got a whole bunch of characters playing off of each other, a lot of good backstories, motivations, and we've established a lot of elements that they're gonna be diving further into as we go further in the episodes.
Did you write down what you said about Nene? Hold on 1 second.
What?
About, like, she should just drop out.
Oh, yeah, like, okay, so they established that Nene's magic is what's keeping her body young, right?
I guess.
And we established with Rosa, the other girl, when you get knocked out of the tournament, you lose your magic. Why the fuck did Nene just not get knocked out? I'm like, what is her actual wish that is so important, which I think has to have something to do with her mom, because obviously her mom went off and got a new family and doesn't remember them.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel like at that point, just cut your losses. You could have had a perfectly normal life if you just ditched the magic, which is something her mom had instilled in her anyways. Like, hide this, don't ever use it, it's bad to use it. Why would you want to keep your magic at that point? But I do feel like it came around with the beginning of episode 6, because she's obviously not that upset she got knocked out. She's like, hey, I'm still here. I'm still gonna be, like, participating in whatever way I can. But yeah, the fighting wasn't really for me.
Okay, so I kind of agree and disagree with you on some stuff. We did get a lot of stuff about people. We did get a lot of things. First off, I'm just going to say, I don't think the two main characters are all that interesting. I think that's kind of been a bit of the drawback from a lot of the show. I do like that we are getting some of the other backstories. Some of them are interesting, some of them aren't. It's a mixed bag because, like, yes, I do think, oh, I get your motivation, your thing with your mom and all that sort of stuff. But it's also like, I don't know. It's okay. I like the motivation with the sister and all that. That's great. I think the main draw here, similar to Utena, is that the villains are starting to villain. And yeah, I didn't feel any sympathy really for Anna and whatnot. And then I was like, and then the thing at the end, I'm like, oh, you're going to go full villain and this is going to be fun. You don't have to be, hey, Disney, you don't have to be sympathetic to be a good villain. I'm just saying. Like, let's have fun with, like, a really,
chill.
like, go full psycho. And, of course we got I'm going to call them Kire, because that's who they are. They're the priest from fate. They're just, I'm going to pretend to be your friend and then I'm going to betray you. It's like, I know exactly who you are. So it's like, yeah, I feel like a lot of these characters I have definitely seen this. I think the execution's decent, but it's a little bit of a mixed bag here and there. So, overall, light yay for me, I think. So, I think we're moving into world building. Chippy, what are your thoughts?
So, I think with these couple of episodes, they established a little bit of things with, like, the magic, such that, like, a lot of mages will actually, like, disguise their magic because it's important to hide it, whereas some people don't hide it, but it's kind of like just so, like, other mages don't know who you are, because a lot of them kind of can sort of detect magic in one way or another. Like AYoN can detect magic through simply hearing it, because she was able to catch it off of Mangetsu's sister. She was able to hear it from her, which led her to Mangetsu and Ernesta. And then they talk about, like, being born under certain stars, and I don't really know if astrology has anything to do with any of the magic in their world.
Kind of thought that was a euphemism.
Like, sort of, but also it's just kind of like maybe not. And so it's kind of like, what's the amount of power each of them has, like, varies greatly. So some people have, like, greater sources of magic and some people don't. And the one technique needs two people in order to be able to use it. So it's not like you can just be a mage and cast whatever you want. Like, some things require cooperation between mages, which means you gotta know each other. You gotta know other mages. So at some point, you gotta be able to feel each other out. And I think there were just, like, little bits and bobs that were, like, sort of, like, establishing things. Also, Nene has those little talisman things that can, like, detect magic and block her magic, that she was able to, like, hide from both Ernesta and AYoN whenever, like, she was over at Mangetsu's house. But I feel like they gave us some stuff, but not, like, a whole lot. At least not that I read while I was reading on the screen. So, yeah, there's that. I guess curses are also a thing. So I'm kind of, like, in the middle somewhere, just because, like, they're feeding stuff to us. But it, based on how relevant it is in the moment, it kind of varies.
This is going to be a weird thing to say, but I don't have a lot to say about the world building other than there was world building. So it's a yay for me.
There was plot.
Exact
It
opposite
plotted.
of me. I just want to know what's going on during the rest of the month.
Yes.
Just like, we battle, I'm gonna participate in the next battle. It's the next battle.
I can tell you exactly what's going on the rest of the month when you're done.
I jokingly texted Cozy a few minutes ago, oh, wait, this happens once every month? Is this an allegory for periods? Femininity! This is a magical girl show.
Oh my god, there was a manga that was about, like, a battle royale between girls every time they got their period, but it was like they were trying to be born, like they weren't actually existing yet. It's weird, and I'm going off on a tangent.
Yikes.
Okay.
Are you done with world building?
Yeah.
Okay, what they're doing the rest of the month is Mangetsu trying desperately to have just one person like her cooking.
They should show that.
They did.
It's funny. I want to see more of that.
The most concurrent thing we have in almost every single episode is Mangetsu cooking for someone and her being like, it's good, right? And they're just like, it's okay, I guess. Like, her skills have canonically suck and continue to suck. But overall, I feel like we did get, like, a lot of interesting tidbits about how the world is working. Like, the fact that Nene's Armanox transformed, like, whoa. Didn't know they could do that. Kind of super cool that they can. That opens up a lot of new potential for the other Armanoxes now. We also got, again, kind of politicking between the families. And then overall, they've hinted twice now that becoming like the head mage of a family is not actually a great thing, because Nene's mom completely fucked off, and Anna's mom is so disillusioned about it, she doesn't want Anna to become the head mage of the family.
She adopted a whole ass another kid to do it instead.
Yeah, so like, we're cooking something there. Don't know what it is yet, but they have implied it's really not great. And I feel like whatever it is probably the whole reason Ernesta wants to erase magic. Like, whatever this is so bad that everyone's like, I really don't want to deal with this. Maybe that's what keeps you from aging. You become the head of the family and you're just stuck. We're getting, like, spoon-fed little bits of, like, how the magic works. Different families, like, different abilities. Because, like, even Ernesta, like, she could sense people through shadows. Like you said, Huon could hear it. Nene had the talismans. Ernesta was going through the shadows. It seems like Anna's family can do something with fire and ice. So, like, we have, like, really interesting tidbits about the world. I feel like we're just getting it a little slowly. I would like to see just a bit more about why there's a competition, because, like, they're like, yeah, there's a competition because the magic wants it. And then they also reference, yeah, the magic really likes Ernesta. They, like, blessed her. Like, what is the magic? Tell me what the magic is. Like, I want to know more. Like a light yay on that.
Kind of a meh to a light yay. Honestly, I feel like a lot of the stuff that we established in the previous episodes. Like, it's kind of not a whole lot of new eye-opening stuff, other than the transformation sequence. And I guess that what's-her-face is the main characters. One can go berserk, like in Evangelion, which, okay, that's interesting. So that's something. Yeah, meh, kind of maybe a light yay.
It was kind of a meh for me. I think we got some good stuff in here, but once again, I just wasn't fond of the execution. But it was okay. It was like a meh. I don't have too much to add. I feel like most of it was covered.
Okay. Envy, do you want to take us into production?
Yeah, I like the art style. The animation's nice. I will say there are times with the animation where I don't want to say it's too hard to follow, but it's sometimes a little... what's the word? Overstimulating with the overwhelming with the fight scenes, but it's still well animated, and the character designs are cutesy, I guess. At least, for some of the characters. And I do like the music. So yeah, I really don't have any major complaints as far as production. I also like the opening and ending songs. So yeah, it's a yay for production.
Big agree on the overstimulating. But the animation is pretty, so I'll give them that. I also wrote down why time skip just a flashback. That makes no sense. In the movie adaptation of one of my favorite musicals, In the Heights, they did that. Because in the musical, it takes place over like 3 days. And then in the movie, they stretched it out to, I think, like a week or two. And then at the very end, there's a time skip to like 3 months later. And 2 characters have a song that doesn't make sense 3 months later. It makes sense, like, right after the main events happen. So they straight up say, let's pretend like it's still the beginning of summer so this song makes sense. And sing the song. I'm like, why? Just don't flash forward then. That makes no sense. I had the same exact emotions here. No, I had less strong emotions here because they didn't poke a hole in my favorite musical.
Do you not generally like mechs because it's normally overstimulating? There's usually a lot going on.
Huh.
Usually depends on the production, but I could see that element.
Interesting.
Show them some old mech stuff. It's probably less stimulating simply because they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
No. I'm going straight to Gundam 00.
Alright.
Because that one's my favorite. Yeah, I mean, like, the fight scenes were phenomenal. The animation was great. The whole transformation sequence for both the Armanox and then for Mongetsu, like, that was so well done. The scoring, they definitely have, like, different themes going on, and I feel like the pacing of the music always fits very well with what's actually happening on screen. Overall production, like, I don't think I have anything negative to say about this week. Like, they did a good job. Minus the flash forward to flashback. Still weird decision. I don't know why they did that.
Who knows? I'm still not a big fan of the mech designs. I just don't think they're ever going to grow on me at this point, so that's just kind of the way it is. But the animation's nice. I wrote down the OP and ED are starting to grow on me, but for the life of me right now, I cannot recall what they sound like. So I'm kind of in a space of like, do they? Do they really? But I will say this. There's a weird thing about the opening, and it has nothing to do with the song. It has everything to do with the visuals. I'm pretty sure at a certain point, it just goes like super fast edit style, like the Evangelion opening. And I think it would sync up.
Yep, it does.
I'm like, okay, that's what I'm seeing. It's just reminding me of this thing that was like, isn't permanently ingrained in my head. That makes sense. So yeah, I will gotta give credit again for the smash cut during the credits. Strong move. Got me to it might have upped my investment a little bit, but maybe fleeting. I don't know. I'm having some mixed feelings, but like overall, I feel like a light yay here. It's very competently done, if not always in the most creative way.
I think that the animation overall is really pretty. I really like their magical girl designs. I agree with Al. I don't really like the mech designs. I don't think they're very appealing or original.
I still think they remind me of SD Gundam, which is worst Gundam.
Yeah, I don't like them too much.
Yeah.
And I don't really like the comic book style panels that sometimes appear during the battles. I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but those little windows,
Yeah.
I think it like ruins the mood and it doesn't really fit the vibe of the battle.
Like when they're talking to each other in the mechs?
Yeah, sometimes they appear in a small window,
I
like
think
a
that's-
comic book panel.
No, I think that's a heads-up display. It's like, here's who you're talking to, like a FaceTime thing. I think.
Yeah.
Because there's
Yeah,
sometimes
that's
where they
what I
try to
thought.
talk to someone and it like
Same.
says not connected or whatever.
Oh, so it was just
Yeah, I think that's a mechanic, not a
It's like a UI
it was part of their
overlay.
thing.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It threw me off a little, but it's good to know it's
I
not
can see
a
that.
creative decision. Okay.
I mean,
it
it
is
is, but
diegetic,
not
I
in the way
think.
that you thought.
Yeah, not in the way that I thought. But yeah, I think overall the production's pretty good. I think in their regular lives, it's a little bit too moe looking for me. I think like if I saw a screenshot of it isolated, I would think it's any like little moe show. But I think when they're in the magical girl forms, it looks really pretty and the colors are really nice. It is a little overstimulating, but I don't mind it. I like to be stimulated. But yeah, it's like I have mixed feelings, but overall it's like a light yay.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to add. Again, I agree. Animation's still good. The scoring is amazing. And yeah, I would say overall for production, I would give it a yay.
All right, Cece, why don't you take us into final thoughts?
My final thoughts. Okay, so I, as called out, I did take these notes a full day after watching these, but I did try to dramatically recreate my thoughts in the writing, you know?
Sometimes you gotta marinate.
So I wrote, is this appropriate for little girls? Maybe? Like, the themes are a little mature, but it's not like inappropriate, is it? And then, oh my god, it is not.
Okay, but again, I feel like you shot your own argument in the foot because Utena is not really like a little girl show.
I think it is more so than this. I don't think, does anybody get blatantly murdered in Utena?
No, don't spoil, don't
no.
spoil. I don't want to know yet.
Okay.
You can't ask people about possible spoilers in this tournament.
Cool. Oh, also my miscellaneous thoughts. Damn, bitch, it's just a game. They were taking it so seriously. They had like a full mental break. You're not gonna die, right? It's fine. Overall, it's a meh to light yay for me. Like, it's not sticky, but I am a little more intrigued after seeing both Mangetsu and Anna's mental breaks. But at the same time, I am feeling like this is less of a magical girl show. It might be that it's more mech than anime girl.
Yeah, I did at one point ask Cece, like, what does this feel like to you? Because, I mean, like, overall, they do say they're casting spells, but I feel like it generically looks like mechs battling with lasers. You did not have an answer to that, so.
Mechs.
Yeah.
It does. Mechs.
For final thoughts, I did not put any notes, and I was really kind of trying to go just like based on like overall messaging. Is there anything positive we can take away from this? And there was that one moment where they were having a conversation about whether or not you like yourself. And Ernest is like, no, but I think I'm realizing that nobody really likes themselves, and we're all striving to be someone better, someone more ideal. And like we have this perfect version of ourselves in our head that we're never gonna live up to, and that's okay. And like, I do think that is such good, powerful messaging, because like, yeah, everyone is gonna have those feelings, and I feel very strongly about like talking about when you have negative emotions, because as a society we are kind of taught to like bottle it up. It's like something shameful, we shouldn't talk about it, and it creates this huge stigma around it. And that moment where they're having that conversation is like breaking the stigma. And you can see like in that moment it's helping both Ernesta and Mangetsu. But I also feel like that could have such a nice, powerful impact on the people watching in that moment. Because even with like the blatant murder, like I do feel like generally this is aimed, again, more like teens as an audience. This doesn't fully feel like a adults only 18 plus, you know? And like that is something you would really be struggling with at that point of your life.
Teenagers can have a little murder as a treat.
I mean, people can get murdered in PG-13.
I guess people were murdered many times lately on Elena of Avalor, which was a Disney Junior show.
I mean, going back to Disney, Disney blatantly murdered lots of people.
They didn't
Yes.
blatantly murder them. They fell off the cliff. There was nothing we could do.
Gravity is natural.
Gravity, the one true enemy of us all.
Like, I didn't think up until that point we'd had any really strong messaging. Because, like, I do like feminism in my magical girl animes. And I don't feel like up until that point we really had, like, any kind of strong messaging or, like, leaning one way or the other on it. But it was just really, like, a nice, poignant moment that was, like, a nice, bright spot. So I'm, like, a late A.
I think overall I'm enjoying that things are ramping up. There's a couple spots here and there that I'm like, this could definitely be improved somehow, like, you know, but, you know, the way this story's shaping is done so nicely. I'm not invested in our main characters. That's an issue. The side characters are picking up the slack, so there's that, which is good, and it looks nice. I'd be interested in seeing, you know, where this could end up, or at least I would like to continue until, like, the interesting characters that I'm interested in are eliminated. I can't tell right now if I'm like, ooh, I definitely want to go all the way to the end, or if I'm just like, I just want to see until Anna dies, or what's her face that we can't ever remember her name, blue hair girl, like, fully, like, tells everyone I'm the main villain. I don't know. So, like, yay? Sure.
I don't really have many positive feelings towards this show aside from the production I think is good. I think otherwise I've seen it done better in other places. I think it had some good ideas, but the execution I feel was kind of poor. And overall, I just find most of the characters bland and not very well drawn. Like, I feel like they weren't given enough time to shine. Overall, I didn't really enjoy my experience watching this. And I feel like my enjoyment has decreased over the weeks instead of increased. So I'd give it a nay.
I almost feel like you were an inverse of my experience with this. I was like, oh, I hate this the first week.
Yeah,
And I
yours
was like,
got better, but mine got worse. Yeah. I just feel like, I don't know.
it's weird.
Yeah, it's weird, but no.
So I feel like the show, there's a lot going on. It's doing a lot of things. I would almost really like it to slow down just so I feel like we have a little bit of room to breathe. Yes, there is room to breathe throughout like the 3 episodes we watched, but considering how fast the pacing is, it doesn't really feel like there's any breathing room. I stand by the fact that I really think that this could have benefited from being a longer running show, just so that way, like, yes, we do get our nice epic battle sequences, but we also get more room to get to know all of our characters. Like, overall with this, it's a pretty show. I think the production for this was done really well. There are just a couple of things I would have preferred to see done a little differently, or at least to have had the budget to do more with. I'm sure that their budget was probably not that big for this since it's only a 12-episode series. So I would say that overall, like, I'm somewhere between a high meh and a light yay, and I only say that because this is a show, because of the pacing, if you look away for even 2 seconds, you're gonna be fucking lost. And I really want a show that still hopefully makes sense a little bit when I look back up from my phone, if I look away for like even a little bit. So yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued to see how the show ends. I mean, I will say this. We're halfway through the show, so I mean, it's not like it'd be a major commitment if I decided to finish up the show. Let's put it that way. Which doesn't seem like a ringing endorsement, but it is what it is. I guess that's on like a meh right now.
Okay, so that's everybody's thoughts on Granbelm. Nothing else to say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. We got to vote somebody out. Revolutionary Girl Utena versus Granbelm. Cozy, why don't you tell us who's going to get your yay for plot?
Okay. In the interest of saving us time, it makes me very sad because I love Utena so much. But ultimately, I just feel like we had really weak episodes this week where Granbelm kind of had a stronger showing, so I am actually a sweep for Granbelm.
Oh shit, I get to do my sweep voice. They're going to sweep the whole time. Okay. Well, I'm not going to be a sweep on this. I was actually pretty divided throughout this whole thing about a number of these things. I'll get to those when I get to those. As far as plot goes, I think overall I'm going to have to give it to Granbelm because I was more interested in some of the dynamics that were changing and then some of the different things that were going on there. I did enjoy Utena a lot, but not necessarily for the plot this week. So that's why I'm going that way. Utena?
I'm also gonna save us some time. I'm unfortunately a sweep for Granbelm as well.
Oh my god. 2 sweeps.
I abstain for plot.
Okay.
I said Utena for plot.
Okay, so that's 2 for Utena and 3 for Granbelm. So Granbelm is going to take plot. Let's move on. I believe I'm leading us into characters. And yeah, here's where I'm like, ooh, this is why I loved Utena. To be fair, I was kind of comparing them a little bit back and forth. I think that in both shows, I didn't think we've had a particularly strong showing for any of the main characters. I will give Utena and Anthe a little bit more credit because I think I was enjoying them a little bit more than I was the 2 that I don't remember their names of. That being said, I think the supporting characters were a little bit better in Granbelm, but then I got to the villains and I was like, oh, Mr. President. Like, Mr. President had a very strong showing this week. And Anna started at a 9, so she went to a 10. It wasn't that big of a deal to me. I enjoyed it, and I think good villains are there. But Mr. President, oh, I want to watch the whole thing with him. So I'll go with Utena for characters.
All right, I'm going to save time and just sweep for Utena.
You sweeping for Utena? Somebody sweeps today. I have to sweep for Utena over there. Chibi's sweeping for Granbelm. Envy?
I'm going to give it to Utena for characters.
Utah gets another vote there.
Characters. I said Blen.
Blam. And then another Blam. Okay, so that's a tie. We don't know what's going to happen there. All right. Moving on. World building. Yin, we're starting with you. Oh wait,
I'm
you're
a
a sweep for
already.
you're a sweep for Utena. And Chibi the sweep for Granbelm.
I'm going to go with Granbelm for world building.
Okie dokie.
Actually, you know what? World building, I will give it to Granbelm just because Utena didn't have any.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same.
Okay.
I had written down Utena originally, but
I was
y'all
wondering-
convinced me.
I was wondering why you had put that.
That was a sweep.
Oh yeah, if you're a sweep, I was also going to say Granbelm for that. So Granbelm will take world building.
Sweeps.
They sweep world building, and we move on to production. Yin, who gets you?
Oh, it's still.
Oh, you're
it's a
still
sweep for the
okay.
rest.
You're sweep
yeah,
now.
it was
Now
just
they're-
world building. I switched.
Now you're back to a sweep. All right. And Chibi the sweep for Granbelm. Envy.
Granbelm.
Okay.
Glenn.
And then another sweep. I'm going to be real with you. I've debated back and forth. I might be going Utena on this one. Because, like, I think Granbelm looks good because it's modern, but I love Utena's style a lot better. So I'm going to give it to them. Granbelm does take production now, so we move into final thoughts. Chibi, starting us off? I know there's a lot of sweeps. Can we just say it for final thoughts?
Yeah.
Just so we're all...
Sweet.
For Granbelm, okay.
So, just to clarify, did we not decide characters? Was it a tie?
Characters was a tie.
So it's 2-1 to 1 right now.
It doesn't fucking matter. Just say who gets the final thoughts.
Well, easy there, Sailor. Easy. I guess I'm Utena for overall final thoughts.
Because he's convinced me that Utena is no more appropriate than Granbelm. But I do think Granbelm is more of a mecha show than magical girl show. So I'm giving it to Utena.
So, I do want to give Utena credit. I was originally Utena for Final Thoughts. Just because, like, overall, I feel like it has a stronger overarching, like I said, theme of, like, kind of feminism and stuff. But, again, it's just so unfortunate. It had a really couple of weak episodes this week. Because that one moment in episode 6 with that conversation around, like, your self-esteem and how, like, you're never gonna be this perfect version of yourself, that, like, cinched it for me. I went with Granbelm.
I bounced back and forth a lot. When it came to the final thoughts on these, I was like, which one am I looking forward to? And I think when I came down to it, when I said the thing with Utena, I was like, if this moves on, I'd like to see a little bit more. And with this one, I said, I could continue watching it up to a point. I don't know what it is internally. I think Granbelm might go downhill, but I think Utena might go uphill. So I'm going to go Utena.
Yeah.
Utena.
Okay. So Utena takes final thoughts and no other category. I feel like this happened in the Showdown. Whenever we did, 7 Deadly Sins versus Bleach?
Yeah.
And we were like, everyone wanted to continue watching Bleach, but 7 Deadly Sins won every other category.
Listen, when we were, like, actually watching these and taking notes, I'm like, oh no. Oh my fucking... I don't want to be a sweep. I love Utena.
Yeah, I was also kind of just like, why is Granbelm pulling out all the stops right now and Utena is goofing off in the corner over there?
I'm like, get that filler out of here. Get it out of here right now.
Why is there a kangaroo?
Yeah, I hate to say it, even with the final thoughts, I think Granbelm gets to win out in this because they got so many of the categories at this point. Interesting development.
Granbelm's the low seed in the tournament that keeps moving on despite of itself.
Yeah,
I want to say it's the Cinderella story, but that implies, most people want it to move on.
Yeah, I mean,
I will say this: Granbelm has kind of been the one that moved on just by merit of the other one was so much worse.
I hate to say it, that might be Granbelm's whole thing, because let's be real here, had Granbelm gone up against some of Revolutionary Girl Utena's other episodes, it probably wouldn't have continued.
Yeah. No.
I think Granbelm got really lucky in their bracket placement.
Yes.
But hey, it
Winning
happens.
by default, that's my favorite way to win.
I'm gonna finish Utena. I guarantee you that.
Same.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
We'll add it to the wedding cake brunch.
Dude, this brunch is gonna go on for. You know what? I do like it. Can we
It's gonna
have
be like a 3-day
No.
brunch.
We'll have multiple brunches.
Hell
We'll have
yeah.
multiple brunches. That's what we'll do.
No. By the time we have brunch, we'll have second breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm saying different brunches on different
What
days.
about 11s?
11Cs?
Yes.
Well, we can discuss those at another time. For now, Granbelm moves on, and we're gonna see who else makes it into the final four. Coming up next week, we got Princess Tutu versus Shugo Chara. Gonna be interested to watch theater kids go up against Supbra.
Oh no.
Yeah. All right. Anybody got anything else to say? Cece, how's the scarf going?
It's great. I'm absolutely, definitely working so hard on it.
I believe you.
More important news, we figured out what ESH means from the
Right.
from the other week.
Yes. You want to tell everybody?
It's everyone sucks here.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was that in?
As
which
in-
show was that describing?
Am I the asshole? Reddit. It was
Magical Girl site.
Girl
Yeah.
site.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that makes
The
sense. Everyone
suckiest
does suck
show.
here. Yeah.
I
So.
watch so many Reddit YouTubers just reading Reddit threads, and a lot of the time it is, am I the asshole? I can't believe I did not realize that sooner, especially because I was the one that wrote it.
Yeah.
It's not just most of the time they are. That is when someone responds on Am I the asshole? There's only like 4 responses.
Yeah.
You are the asshole, you're not the asshole, everybody sucks here, nobody sucks here. So like it's always in the Am I the asshole edit.
Yep. Well,
No,
that's great.
am I the asshole is usually the one that's being read.
Well, hey, we'll find out who's the asshole next week whenever Princess Tutu goes up against Shugo Chara. I needed a segue, and there wasn't one. Deal with it. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!